Hello, my name is Kari and I'm the product architect for the FieldSync Health product here at FieldSync. What I'd like to go over with you today is how you can configure your security settings within the FieldSync Health application. First thing that you want to do is log into the web application using an administrator password or a system administrator password. This will allow you to have access to the settings area. Now by selecting the settings button, this will take you to the area of the application where you can configure the specific settings specific to your company. So today we're going to focus on the security tab. When you select the security tab, you will see the security management settings. What this allows you to do is control the security of your data and the access that your users have to it. So let's talk about this first option. This first option allows you to display previous logged in users on the mobile device. Now let's talk about what that means. So for example, if you don't have this option turned on, every single time your users log into the application, they will need to type in the username that you've provided to them. This makes sure that there's no usernames displayed on the device. Nobody can see what those usernames are and potentially try to guess the password and log into the application. However, it is pretty cumbersome. So the other option then would be to allow the device to store those usernames on the device, and that's what this setting is. So if you have this option selected, it allows the device to store the usernames of the users that are logging into a device. So let's say, for example, you have one device that's shared amongst many different users within your organization. So what it will do is each time one of those users logs into the application, it will store their username up to the number that you see listed here. So you can choose to either have the last 5 stored all the way up to 30. So let's jump over to the mobile application and take a look at what this means. So since I have this setting enabled on my application, when I come here to my mobile device and choose the drop down from the username, you'll see here that I have a username listed. This was the last username that was used to log into the application, and had there been additional ones, you would see them here in this list. So I can simply select the username, and then it will take me next to the password to where I can just simply enter my password and log into the application. Otherwise, without that setting turned on, then I would need to enter in the entire username every single time in addition to the password. So you can see that there are a couple of different pros and cons. With this setting turned on, it definitely makes it easier on your users. They can get into the application easier, it's less cumbersome, but it does provide a little bit of a security risk because if someone were to pick up the device, guess the passwords for each of the usernames that are displayed. So you can make a determination which is best for your organization. Second is the application timeout. Now what this does is allows the device to automatically require your users to log back into the application after a certain amount of inactivity. So let's say, for example, someone is using the mobile application, sets the device down and is away from the device for 5 minutes. What this setting is it allows you to set whether or not when they turn back on the device and access the application, do you want to force them to log back into the application, or do you want them to simply be able to get back to what they were doing? So let's go ahead and turn this setting on. I'm going to say that I want it to occur after 1 minute, just for the purposes of the demo. And what this means is after 1 minute of inactivity, then my users are going to be required to log back into the application. So I am going to save that setting, and then we'll come over here to the mobile application, and I'm going to sync my mobile application, and then I'm going to wait for a minute and see what happens. Now our device has been inactive for about 45 seconds, and you'll remember that we had the setting set to force a timeout after 1 minute. So in the next few seconds here, we'll see our device timeout and force our user to log back into the application. So now you can see who the currently logged in user is, and it requires a password to get back into the application. You can also switch users. So let's say, for example, Charles walks away from the application and someone else picks it up and needs to use it. You simply select switch users and enter in the other username and password of the user that needs to access the application. So this now covers the first two settings for the login, access, and the application timeout for the security settings. In a separate video in part 2, we will go over the emergency button and the functionality of that.